Welcome to My Favorite CX, a podcast that celebrates exceptional customer experiences. To listen to today's, please choose from one of the following options.
Welcome back to My Favorite Customer Experience. I'm here with Andy Moorhouse, and we're going to move on to talking about a recent or historical favorite customer experience for you, Andy.
Yeah. So this is with Tesco, and regarding their home shopping delivery service, and it's a particular favorite because my old company, we did a customer experience transformation training program with Tesco. And so as part of a team, my job was to go in and figure out what are the behaviors that drive customer experience. Tesco call it VSAT. So that's a 5 on the CSAT scale, VSAT. If you get a 1, it's called a VDSAT, which I think is a rather unfortunate term, but let's not go there. So a VSAT, looking for a CSAT 5. Not where I live today, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I used to live in a converted watermill down this long, winding little gravel path. I felt like kind of Lord Muck driving. I only rented it, and it was £800 a month, just outside Barnsley, but it was this tiny little converted watermill, this little cottage, middle of nowhere. I had my own mill pond that I could go swimming in with the kids. Absolutely amazing. There's no mobile signal down there. And so any Tesco home delivery driver who's not been there before isn't going to find it. So the local Tesco delivery came out, I don't know, it was like 10:30, 11 in the morning. I'm home with my kids, and the delivery doesn't show up. And so obviously they had attempted to call me, but because there's no mobile signal, I couldn't pick up the call or anything. So I called the customer experience contact center. I said, hey, they haven't shown up. And the person on the phone, there's no canned empathy, there's no false empathy. She said, don't worry, I've got this. I'm going to phone the store and I'm going to make sure they come back out and deliver the shopping. I know you're home with the kids and I guess it must be a bit stressful. So give me 10 minutes. And if they haven't delivered your shopping within the hour, they'll have me to deal with. And I thought, wow. And the principle is own what you can own. So, in a Tesco contact center, they can't own in-field delivery because they're up in Dundee. But the way the advisor owned that engagement was absolutely textbook. So, there's an acknowledgement of, I'm going to be pissed off because I'm home without the food and I've got my 2 kids, and we're waiting to go up for the day. It was a Saturday. But it wasn't, I would feel so frustrated if I was in your situation. But they owned what they could own. And then they call back and they said, look, I'm going to call you back within 10 minutes just to give you an update. But if the driver's not there within an hour, he'll have me to deal with. And I just thought, that's absolutely just amazing. And the shopping turned up.
I was going to say, when they said that to you, I know obviously you'd been involved with Tesco. Did you believe it?
Yes, absolutely. Because she just instilled a level of confidence in me that it was going to happen. And you see this with in-field, where a brand has an in-field service component. So obviously you've got your home shopping with Tesco, all your mobile broadband engineers, or utilities, gas, or especially water companies. I've done a bit of work with Thames and Anglian Water, similar thing, customer experience transformation projects. And before the training, there was no certainty on timescale. So someone would phone up and say, oh my God, I'm stood in the middle of the road and there's raw sewage everywhere. Can I have your postcode? I don't know the postcode, but there's shit in the streets, there's sewage everywhere. Well, if I can't have your account number, sir, I'm not able to do anything. Right? But then you hear other instances where they would say, the engineer's on his way. Well, there's a water leak. The water's lapping at my front door. When will the engineer be? I'll be there as soon as you can. And one customer went, well, how soon is soon? And the other guy goes, well, what do you mean? Well, the guy says, well, how soon is soon? Is it 5 minutes? Oh, no, no, it won't be 5 minutes. Is it 2 days? Oh, yeah, it'd be closer than two. Well, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you. And so statistically, in all the work I've done, the lack of certainty on timescales is statistically, the single biggest cause of detractors in any organization. But again, you look at what's being measured in coal miner, then you look at Nice, Verint, Genesis systems. They don't measure that at all. They measure, did you use the customer's name twice? Did you thank them for their loyalty? Did you deliver empathy? And you go, no, you need to deliver certainty. Customers need certainty. And that's what I got from this, linking back to the Tesco experience. Absolute certainty on timescales and certainty that it was going to happen. And if contact center leaders start measuring the right things in their speech analytics and on what their agents are saying on live chat, and I'm not a betting man, but I guarantee a lack of certainty is what's dragging down all conversations. I had a DHL delivery, and your delivery will be there between 11:31 a.m. and 12:01 a.m. A half hour. Click here, and there's a little picture of the DHL thing chugging along on a map in my area. You are 3 more stops. On absolute certainty. And so some operational leaders have figured that, and there's a reason DHL do that, because it prevents calls. Where's my parcel? Where's my order? If I have certainty and absolute reassurance with a little DHL van chugging along on a map, I don't need to call. And that's going to reduce your preventable calls in most contact centers between 30 and 40%. That's going to remove that. Where's my order? Where's my payment? Where's my refund? All of those calls are preventable if you deliver certainty. I guarantee payment will be in your account by 4 p.m. on this date. So I believed her, to answer your question in a long-winded way. And measuring certainty in CX operations, I think it's absolutely key. And it's critical in delivering the right level of experience. And, it's not the pleasantries, it's not the happy clappy, smile when you dial. It's not that. It's not the tone. That's not what delivers great customer experience. It's delivering certainty and ownership and personal reassurance. They'll have me to deal with. So the agent is giving personal reassurance. They're the 3 behaviors that matter.
And ultimately, that's building trust as well, isn't it? As a customer, you then trust them, which means I'm guessing you carried on shopping with Tesco after that. Whereas if they failed, you'd probably be going, right, who's next? Which other flavor of supermarket will I trust to try and make it to the end of the gravel path?
Yes, I did like living there. Anyway, they sold the watermill. They sold this damn little watermill, but I did enjoy living
there. Your call is important to us. Please hold, and you will be connected to your next favorite customer experience shortly.
Andy, thank you for walking us through that customer experience with Tesco there and how it made you feel, what made it exceptional. And you also talked about one of your studies that you did for DWP, and I found that it's a long read. We'll put that in the show notes. We'll put a QR code up as well to that article. But where can people find you? Is it LinkedIn, or have you got somewhere else that you generally are putting some content?
All of the thought leadership content and articles now go through LinkedIn. My website is alytical.com, but I've kind of neglected it, if I'm really honest, because it's just a lot easier to publish on LinkedIn. I did try Medium for a while, but users have to subscribe to Medium, and people just they don't want to pay to read an article. So I just generally just have LinkedIn as my main channel for everything I do now. But yeah, have a dig around. I think I generally, because I'm not affiliated with any tech company, and I've now left Deloitte and no longer at Capita, I can tell it as it is. And I think, I tend to enjoy prodding tech vendors with a pointy stick. And, you see these spurious claims of, you can remove 30% of your headcount by buying our chatbot. Some 30, some 40, some even publicly say 50% OPEX headcount reduction by buying our chatbot. And you go, that ain't going to happen. And they said 80%. And we kicked them out this particular bank where I was running the tender process for a conversational AI. We kicked them out of the process because it's beyond spurious. It's just not believable. Could you, with the right triage, could you have a long-term sustained 20% reduction on inbound telephony? Yes, but it's not an online chatbot that's going to fix it. It's the right contact orchestration and really being strict. And I'm going to put an article together on this. If someone says, "Hey, can I speak to a human?" it's almost immediately, okay, we go straight to a human. There's no threshold for, actually, it's an address change. No, you're not going to get a human. And I think the smart leaders are even going to start looking at the threshold. If it's a vulnerable customer, they've called 5 times before, then yes. But if someone's just in the IVR going, human, agent, being a bit of a knob, I'm not going to immediately transfer them to one of my human agents for an address change. So looking at the threshold settings in this, again, the tech companies haven't caught up to how, if I'm in hospital A&E and I've stubbed my toe, so I'm a very low value intent, I leave without seeing a doctor. I might leave without even seeing a triage nurse, but 20% of people leave A&E without seeing a doctor. And that's triage working in practice. That's how it should be. 20% of people should leave, a call queue without speaking to anybody. And that's called reverse triage, where you intentionally remove people from a call queue and go, that intent doesn't meet our criteria for a human. There's a web form. Now, you need a very bold and decisive
it needs to work, doesn't it? If you're going to push that person away, that needs to work, because if not, that customer is coming back angrier, unresolved, more dissatisfied. And I think that's the thing. It's a whole holistic approach. It's not one size fits all of here's the chatbot. It's everything.
And so I've done some behavioral science around this. So there are ways which have 100% success rate in people leaving a queue. Well, you kick them out, and it's that personal reassurance. We're gonna send you away. If you can't do it, we're going to route you to the front of the queue. So in fact, you can get it done quicker. This is the quickest way, and if it doesn't fail, you'll still get it done quicker than queuing for another 18 minutes.
Yeah,
and it works. 100% of people will go, fair enough, because it's quicker. And I've got that personal reassurance. So again, the behavioral science of how do you do reverse triage and kick people out of a call queue. We've played around with it, and are leaders ready to turn this on? No. But that's if you've got 60 million phone calls and you're only answering in-house 66%. So DWP is the example, Department of Work Pension. If you look at HMRC, our tax office, in peak season, so end of January is peak. January is peak season. they only answer 12% of all calls. And the strategy at HMRC to prevent so advisors can catch up with the workload, in June and July they turn off the phones. So they don't have any repeat contact in June and July because you can't phone them. I mean,
I remember that creating a lot of noise when that came to light.
And they're gonna. Well, the thing is, they only gave 3 days notice that they were going to turn off the phones to Parliament. I mean, anyway, this is a longer story. So the next deep dive kind of forensic autopsy is going to be on HMRC. So I've got all the data because it's public. All the data is public, and I have a little bit of time to prod and poke these things. So I've gone back to 2004. They had 120 million phone calls at HMRC, and they've now got down to 36 million phone calls because of the self-serve online tax submissions. So it's an exemplar of how self-serve. I mean, 120 million calls down to 30 odd million.
That's a success story at the top level. But then you contrast that with we've turned off the phones because we can't deal with this. It's going to be a very interesting long read. And Andy, thank you very much for joining us this week on My Favorite CX. We'll put the links out to your LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to reading that one myself. And thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
All right. Cheers. See you later.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for listening to My Favorite CX. Your listenership is important to us. On your keypad, please press a number between 1 and 5 to rank how much you've enjoyed your experience.